Hey, this is Michael, and I did my internship at HICon Games. HICon Games is a local game studio working on their first mobile game based on an old Hawaiian favorite known as huli, or as we call it in the mainland, pogs. It's going to be a mobile game that you can play with your friends and collect and battle for keeps, things like that. And the game is also going to include avatar customization, so that's where I come in. My 3D my internship for HICon Games focused on helping with the 3D modeling of the clothing, and towards the end I worked on some hairstyles as well. HICon Games is a great opportunity. There's not really a game industry in Hawaii yet. The creative media industry in general, especially game design, is an extremely niche and is an extremely small and hard to get into field. And HICon Games seeks to kick off that industry so that people in Hawaii can stay in Hawaii and do what they love. Right now, if you want to be a game designer and you live in Hawaii, you're going to have to fly out to the mainland if you want to find work. As far as education goes, there's not a lot of education opportunities in Hawaii. There are some game design classes at Manoa, but over on this side, there's not a lot. And even at Manoa, it's not very advanced, not like some of the higher end game design and 3D animation studios out there. So for someone like me that was trying to study game design under a humanities creative media major, the opportunity to learn and practice some actual skills relevant to my area of study was too good to pass up. It was literally a diamond in the rough finding this company. HICon is a local studio that wants to focus on promoting local entrepreneurship. They partook in the Purple Prize competition, which is an indigenous entrepreneurship competition. Unfortunately, we didn't win, but we did pretty good, and we got a lot of publicity out of it. We're hoping to release our game sometime in February. I'll be sticking around during the winter break to get some extra experience on the hairstyles. So even though the internship itself is over, I'm still putting in some extra volunteer work. Making 3D models is a pretty tedious job. It involves creating a basic mesh that represents the general shape of the object, and then typically you'll create a extremely high detailed version of the mesh either through curves or sculpts or shapes, and then you have to remake the mesh all over again, rebuilding it from the bottom up to optimize the amount of triangles and resolution you're using to best represent the shapes on your model without crashing your computer, especially in video games that need to render it in real time. But even studios that make 3D animations like Disney, they still want to have more optimized, lower resolution models to decrease render times when they're rendering out their videos. So retopology is a very important skill. It's a very tedious step, but it's one of those things that you cannot skip over. I did have some failures in this internship, and I learned a lot. Hair in particular is really difficult in video games because hair, if it's off, it looks really bad, and in general, it's extremely detailed, so it's hard to get that good look with low resolution. In 3D modeling, resolution basically refers to the number of triangles that are contained in your mesh. For my hairstyles, I'm trying to go around 500, but for the high poly ones, they can get into the hundreds of thousands or even a million. We're not using normal maps for this project, but I'll explain it anyway because it's relevant. Normal mapping is the process of taking the high resolution mesh and baking the details down onto a texture image, which the game engine will render as which the game engine will use to render the way the light reflects off the surface. So for example, you could have a completely flat surface but have the light bounce off in such a way so that it looks like it has extra details, bumps, cracks, things like that. And it allows the game designers to create extremely detailed 3D models that are not truly 3D. Overall, it was a great experience, and I look forward to getting some more experience over the winter break, and it was quite an enjoyable internship overall.